Hello, students. Welcome to the SNAP Group project. This project is one that is done by all students that are taking the ESW 206 Basic Nutrition course in some way or another. And these are some of the objectives for the project. I hope that you will leave this project with a better understanding of our nutrition assistance programs, what they are, who they serve, why we need them, and also the benefits that are received not only by the recipients, but by the economy as well. In this project, we are going to take on the persona of James. Well, we will be helping James, actually. James has lost his job, and sadly, there are many times when people need assistance because when you lose your job, or if there's a government shutdown, or in the case of a major storm where people can't work, and um, you still need to eat. And so these nutrition assistance programs are available. They started actually back in the 1960s when hunger was truly significant in this country. But sadly, we still have people who are facing food insecurity and hungry today. The participants could be the elderly or young parents with children, the unemployed, disabled, and many of our veterans are also in need of these nutrition assistance programs. For James, he is going to apply, but we need to help him figure out how to apply. And once he does, he will find out if he's eligible, and we will help him through this process. Now, the SNAP benefits are distributed monthly, which we'll see a little bit later on, but we are only going to be working with 1 week's worth from the moderate food cost plan. And again, a little more about that as we move on. So here's the pathway to completing the assignment. You will work in groups of 3. One person is randomly assigned as a group leader by Canvas, and that person will submit the documents to me from your SNAP group files. I've tried to make this as sequential and easy to follow as possible, and I'm hoping that you find it to be so. We're going to start out with assessing his nutrition needs. So as you did with your Assess My Diet project, you're going to go to Nutrition Count. If you have any problems with this, please contact your McGraw-Hill customer service representatives as soon as possible. They are there to help. And that contact information and hours are listed on the syllabus and the Start Here module. So you will select profiles to set up a new profile for James. Make note of the weight goals and activity levels. High activity levels require more food, which require more money, which we do not have. And we also want to maintain his weight. We don't want him to lose weight or gain weight. And here you will see the information you need to set up his profile. Please ensure that you use these numbers correctly. A few things you'll note on once you have put in the information, I'd like you to go to all daily reports. And when you see, and actually I'm going to go back, well, it was in the previous slide. I want you to go to all daily reports. And you will note that all 7 days are listed here. You'll note that his age and his profile information is listed here, and here you can be sure that you put in the correct activity level and weight change information. These numbers will tell you the recommendations for him to fulfill his calorie needs and all of his other needs. And so right now we're looking at if he were to get 100% of all that he needs to eat and drink for this week, he would need 2,755 calories, and he would need 38.6 grams of fiber. This is a starting point. We want him to reach 80% of these numbers as we go along. The next part of the project is that you will answer these case study questions, and again, you will decide how you want to set up the project, but one person can do this, another person can do the profile. And by the way, when you are doing the profile unfortunately, only one person can have access to it at a time. So that one person will probably need to be the person inputting the food once you decide what the budget, what your menu will be, and you decide that once you figure out your budget. So, in order to, the SNAP benefits are based on income and also gender and family members and age, and that's all determined by something called the USDA food plans and the cost of food. There are 4 different plans. We are going to be using the moderate cost plan. Now, if this link works, then you would go to the most recent plan or the most current plan. The plans are based on the month prior, and they change every month. Not by a lot, but they do change. But if we can't get to this link, that's fine. You can use the food plan on the next slide for our project. So when you go to the cost of food plan, you're going to be looking for the moderate cost weekly budget. And again, the benefits are given monthly, but we are only going to use the weekly budget. And those numbers that you saw for his recommendations, you'll need to calculate 80% of those for his calories and 80% for his DRI. You also want to know if he is eligible for SNAP, how does he apply, and then what can he purchase with his EBT card, and then what happens if he runs out of food before the next time his EBT card is loaded. Where can he get free food from a food pantry, a church, or whatever? Please provide all the information that I've asked for here. This is the weekly budget. This is from the USDA and the Food Nutrition Services. This is where you will find the cost of food plans. And as I said, we are using the moderate cost. So you will determine based on his gender and his age and his family size, which he's single, his budget for the week. Now that you know his budget, you will complete this document, which is grocery shopping and receipt list. You're going to purchase the items that are here in colored, and those are the ones that are highlighted. Everyone will purchase those first, and then you're free to use whatever form of these foods you choose. They could be animal or plant-based. That's up to you. After that, make sure that you purchase food in all of these different categories: vegetables, fruit, meat, the proteins here. You need a condiment, your grains, and your snacks and desserts. This is a chart, so you can add lines as needed, and you will then total everything, and you can only shop at one grocery store at a time. So make sure that you just give me that grocery store. And again, you aren't going to be purchasing anything. You're going to be doing all of this online. You can use the coupons from the supermarket that you're using, and note that there's only a certain amount of free foods, which we'll talk about in a minute, but everything else has to be purchased. So let's take a look at this. This document that you just saw is in the Canvas, in your Canvas files, and it must be typed. All of these documents must be typed, by the way. So these are the requirements. You must purchase the required foods first. Make sure there's variety in your purchases. Don't just buy apples for fruit, for example. Apples and oranges and grapes and whatever you can get from with your purchase, with the amount of money you have for the week. Make sure that you have enough food. One bag of spinach is not enough vegetables for a week. Use only the foods purchased in your menus. So if you bought 3 apples, then you need to use 3 apples. You cannot use 4 apples. And I prefer that you not use 2 apples. I prefer that you use all 3 apples. And you want to stay within $2 of your budget, going over or under by no more than $2. If you have $2 left over, spend it. Do not try to save any money. So these are your free foods in your cabinet: spices, flour, oil, sugar, coffee, and tea. These are expensive foods, so at least we know that James is going to be able to have his coffee or tea in the morning with some sugar, and you can do some baking with some flour and sugar and oil and all those things. So that is that should be those foods should be utilized. You go grocery shopping virtually. Of course, you're not making any purchases. You're doing this all online. Again, one supermarket. And don't spend a large amount of money on any one product. Particularly when it comes to meat, students seem to feel that chicken breast, $8 for 5 pounds of chicken breast is a great deal. Well, that's true, but you can only use about a pound or a pound and a half for 1 week because you can only repeat a meal 4 times. And a pound, or say a pound and a half, a pound is 16 ounces, and add another 8 ounces, so that's 24. That's sufficient for a week, for 4 meals. Yes, so that's that. When you're planning your menu, you want to make sure that each meal contains a source of protein, either animal or plant protein. Protein is important. It helps with satiety. He needs to get all of his nutrients as best he can. And it doesn't take a lot, but you do need to include protein in each meal. Not necessarily a snack, but each meal. A can of soup, a pack of ramen is not considered enough protein for a meal. You can add it in addition to a meal, but not as the sole part of the meal. And milk can only be used as substantial protein at breakfast. It's not sufficient for protein at lunch or dinner. And again, use all the foods that are purchased, and don't add food or amount in your menu that you did not buy. So let's say you are doing your meals, and you've got these 4 meals that you've made the same. That's fine. You would have, say, 2 for lunch and then 2 for dinner. Not sequentially, not, Monday for dinner, Tuesday for lunch, Wednesday for dinner, Thursday for lunch. You want to spread it out as best as you can. The only meal that you can repeat for 7 days is breakfast, because some people eat the same breakfast every day, and that's fine. But you do want to have some space between the same meal for variety. All right. So now you have to meet this 80% of calories from and fiber. So what happens if you don't get, if you put all your food in, you put your menu together, you enter it into Nutrition Calc, and you come up short? Well, make sure that you're using whole fat dairy. I know that we are a nutrition class and students often go for the low fat or sugar free options. Those recommendations do not apply in this case. In this case, we need calories, so go for full fat. That's the way to go. We also need fiber, so think whole grains, and at least 3 grams of fiber per serving. You're giving him 2 slices of toast for breakfast. With each slice at 3 grams, you already have 6 to start. Cereal is a great way to get fiber. You want to look at the labels as you make your purchases. Cheerios only has 3 grams of fiber, but there are others that have much more. And for him, I would say you could use 2 cups of cereal and a cup of milk. For a man, that would work. But still, purchasing a gallon of milk for 1 week is way too much. So you want to make sure that you purchase no more than a half gallon. Again, here I would strongly suggest you purchase whole milk if you are using animal milk. And then some of them actually have higher amounts of protein, the ultra pasteurized milks, but they are more expensive. So you want to check that out. But whatever way you decide to do it, just make sure that you're working to meet the calories and the fiber. Keep snacks in mind. There are ways to add fiber to snacks. So, for instance, you can have nuts. Popcorn has fiber. Fruit has fiber. And also, some ways to keep within your budget is to purchase store brands. Frozen and canned produce are just as fine. and make sure you're using items that are in season. So, for example, right now, butternut squash is in season, your dark green leafy vegetables are in season. If we were talking about spring or summer, we would be looking at summer fruit and zucchinis and eggplants and things like that. But wherever we are, you want to look for seasonal foods. And I strongly suggest that you stay away from um, the organic foods. They are far too expensive. He doesn't need it. He needs quantity and quality, but he doesn't have to have organic. And neither do you if you don't want to. As long as it's fresh and a fruit or a vegetable, you'll be fine. Fresh or frozen or canned, it'll be fine. Doesn't have to be organic. So let's say now we're at the point where you you either grocery shopped first or you did your menu first. It doesn't matter whichever way you do it, that's fine. But make sure whatever you submit for your menu, it must be typed. You can type directly on this weekly meal planner, which will also be in your Snap group files, or you can make up one of your own, but make sure it's typed. Um, this is a chart. It will expand as you write in it, so that's fine, as you type in it rather. Um, I'm looking for, as you can see from the sample that I've given you, this is just part of a 7-day menu. Just so that I gave you only a part of it so that it could be big enough for you to really see. You'll see that the amounts are given. That's the only way I can know that you've used what you purchased. So I'm looking at the amount. You'll also see that students have made tacos for one of these meals. That's great. It's a great way to do that. Avocado toast is fine, but avocado is a fat, not a protein. So just know that. They have added eggs, so which is fine. So they have their protein. And make sure that you will prepare for every day 3 meals and a snack for each day. You will go to your reports here. Um, you put in your intake here. You're going to put in your reports here. Select your reports here. We're going to use remember we looked at the recommendations report to determine his total calories and his total fiber needs. But now we need to make sure that we are meeting the 80% for all of those, for both of those. So how do we do that? Well, here's the all daily reports where we saw recommendations. And here, as you scroll down through the all daily reports, you'll find this bar graph. And the bar graph will be compiled from the food that you put in intakes. And here's where you'll be able to see if you've reached your 80%. Okay, 79% is close enough. Um, and you want to make sure that, again, if you have not met these goals, you can go back and review your menu and look for full fat. Make sure you used all the foods you purchased. Make sure that the amounts are appropriate. Okay, so that's the project. How do you get to your SNAP group? Well, if you look on your menu page, you will see people, and you will find your people there. When you click on Snap Group Project Part 1, and you will then get to your Snap Group. I see this from all the Snap groups, but you will just see one. And you will see that there are 3 out of 3 people in your group. You will then click on the little hamburger here. I don't know why they call it a hamburger. It doesn't look like a hamburger to me. And when you open it up, you'll see these options. Announcements is where you will find your group member names and MC3 email addresses here. Please contact each other as soon as possible. The assignment documents are under files. If your group chooses to use discussions, that's fine. Just make sure everyone is aware that you're doing so. Sometimes one person will start in discussion and the other 2 have no idea that something is there. So I suggest that you start first by contacting each other with the information in announcement, and then you can continue. I found that most students usually use email or texting to communicate. Some have done group chats and Zoom sessions. Some have even actually met online for my seated class. Do whatever that works for your group, but remember that everyone has a different schedule, so do your best to be mindful of that. If a meeting is scheduled to discuss the project, please show up. If you can't be there, let your group members know. You want to be as responsible and respectful of their time as you want them to be of yours. Files is where you will find the assignment documents. Um, and I've put them there. When you when you download your nutrition calc reports, you will add them here. When you open the files and save whichever part of the document of the assignment you're going to do, make sure that you add your initials to the files so that when you um, add it back to submit, you are not submitting a blank document. I've had that happen quite a bit. And so then once you have everything, uh, you have the study questions, case study questions are answered, the grocery list and receipt has been done, the menu planner has been completed, the all daily reports from Nutrition Calc are here. You will then make sure, then you will then upload those documents to me. And this is where you will do that. You will upload your documents here and they will come to me. Okay? And they will come to me for all three people in the group. Only one person should submit at a time. Well, for the group, actually. So the class has been set up in a group of three. Unfortunately, I realized that I'm no longer able to be a member of the group in Canvas, and I forgot to take it out of this slide, so sorry about that. Contact your group members and submit everything to the group leader back into files, and the group leader will submit to me. So how is the project graded? It's graded by, the group is graded. And this is not a project that can be submitted individually, so you have to be in a group. If you're not in a group, then you need to contact me and I will let you know why you're not in a group. At the end, I'm going to ask you to submit a peer evaluation that's going to assess how each of your group members participated, and I will show you that document in a minute. You will, after this SNAP Part 1, there is a Part 2, and I will not grade Part 2 until the peer evaluation has been submitted. However, if during the process of submitting SNAP Part 1, there's one person in your group who has not contributed at all, please let me know as soon as possible, and I will remove that person from your group. Individual grades can be lowered if one or more of your group members feels that you did not contribute. Preferably two of the three of you feel that one person has not contributed, and I do ask you to provide your rationale. However, for the most part, most groups work really well together. I've been doing this as a group for a very long time, and because it's such a big project, and it's a great way for online students to get to interact with each other and not just with me. So, SNAP Part 1 is worth 35 points, and SNAP Part 2 is worth 65 points, and actually can go up to 70 with 5 extra credit points for adding graphics or short videos, but more about that when we talk about SNAP Part 2. This is the grading rubric for SNAP Part 1. Please read this so that you know exactly what you're responsible for, and this will help you get all 35 points. This project can be as fun and enjoyable as you make it, or it can be grueling and a mess. I think, however, it can be fun and you can learn a lot, and you may even learn things that might help someone else in your neighborhood and your family and your community, because there's a lot of misinformation out there about these nutrition assistance programs, and who knows, you may be able to help someone get the resources that they need. And finally, we get to the peer evaluation. This will be in the assignments folder. This is not in your Snap group folder because this will come directly to me. Your group members do not get to see this. I want to know your feelings about your group members. I want to know if you worked well together, and for the most part, most people do. So this will be in the modules or assignment files in Canvas, not in your Snap group files. But know that I understand that there's some people who work harder and better than others. I do not want to I don't want people to benefit on the work of others. This is not the time to be shy or hurtful, just to be honest, and I will adjust the overall grade appropriately. And so that's it. I hope that this video has been helpful to you, and we will stop now.